Russia is now targeting a spiritual group long persecuted in China, mirroring the Chinese Communist Party's playbook. Those arrested now face sentencing of varying terms, including forced labor and up to 6 years of imprisonment. NTD's Steve Lance breaks down the latest developments out of Russia.
This video shows masked Russian officers breaking down the door of a Moscow apartment. This where the brother of a Falun Gong practitioner resides. The arrest, just one of many, marks an alarming escalation. Russia is now targeting a spiritual group persecuted in China, mirroring the CCP's 26-year-long persecution campaign against the spiritual group. Practitioners of Falun Gong in Russia, just like those in the United States and around the world, often work to expose the truth about the persecution of the practice that's taking place inside of mainland China. But in February, Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese leader Xi Jinping reaffirmed what they're calling a no-limits partnership, this all taking place on the anniversary of the Ukraine war. It appears that now includes the persecution of Falun Gong extending into Russia. Falun Gong, also known as Falun Dafa, is a meditation practice with a spiritual component based on the 3 principles of truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance. It's been heavily persecuted inside of China since 1999, and now this group of Russian citizens are being persecuted for practicing this spiritual discipline and for shining a light on the human rights abuses taking place inside of China. Human rights defenders have identified them as prisoners of conscience. For example, one of them, Zhu Yun, was just sentenced to 3 years in a modern-day labor camp with roots in the Soviet-era Gulag system. But the persecution began ramping up last April. This when Russia placed Oksana Shchetkina under house arrest. Barely a month later, on May 3rd, 2024, Russia launched a wave of searches and detentions of Falun Gong practitioners inside of Moscow. The following day, Moscow authorities targeted a woman named Natalia Menenkova, saying that she helped to coordinate Falun Gong practitioner and related activities to expose the persecution. That same day, a Russian judge sent Menenkova to a pretrial detention center. The others detained in Moscow were then held under the pretense of being witnesses in her case. Menenkova was the last to be sentenced. Her verdict Wednesday is a 4-year sentence to a Russian labor camp.
In a statement to the Epoch Times, the State Department commented on the situation. The spokesperson said, quote, "The United States condemns the Russian government's actions targeting and repressing members of religious minorities, including Falun Gong practitioners. We urge Russia to respect the right of all to exercise this freedom of religion or belief. All religious minorities should be able to enjoy freedom of religion and assembly without interference."